Song had the unique ability to see ghosts since childhood. He never remembered when it started, as it felt completely natural to him. The ghosts were always friendly, offering advice and guidance, and even telling him about hidden treasures or events to come. For a long time, he assumed everyone could see them. However, as he grew older, Song realized he was the only one with this ability. His parents, worried about his strange gift, took him to doctors and shamans, but no one could explain it, and no one but Song could see the ghosts. Despite his special ability, Song didn't mind the attention it brought him, but over time he began to understand that sometimes lies were necessary to protect his family from judgment. He even started telling his parents he no longer saw ghosts to ease their worry. His calm and unshakable personality made him popular among his peers, and he eventually served as a soldier in the military. When Song returned home after his service, he was surprised to find a large VR capsule in his room, a gift from his sister, Yumina. She was excited about the latest virtual reality game, Eternal World, and thought that Song, with his ghost-seeing abilities, might be able to encounter cyber ghosts in the game. Song, skeptical about such a thing, shrugged it off, knowing his sister's obsession with ghosts. After rewatching a gameplay video, the protagonist noticed something strange: ghosts. Not just once, but in multiple videos. This wasn't ordinary game content or special effects. These spirits, dressed like people from ancient times, felt real to him. Though others couldn't see them, his instincts told him they were truly there. In real life, he'd always been able to see ghosts, something even the most trained people couldn't do. So if he felt these were real, they probably were. He wondered if any other players noticed them, but there were no mentions in comments. NPCs also ignored them completely. These ghosts had no player tags or names, unlike normal characters. Everything pointed to them being actual ghosts inside the game. The thought excited him. In real life, spirits had always liked him and even helped him. What if these game ghosts were the same? Maybe they could guide him to secrets or hidden treasures no one else could reach. That night, he slept with a hopeful smile. The next morning, after a relaxing start and a tasty breakfast made by his mother, he got ready. With Mina's help earlier, he already knew how to use the capsule. He stepped inside, curious and excited, eager to discover what the game's mysterious world had in store. As the protagonist laid eyes on the glowing steel sword, he felt a strange pull toward it. Without hesitation, he stepped forward and claimed it. Instantly, a series of messages confirmed his success. He had discovered and acquired the steel sword and earned a rare title called Keen Perception. While the sword itself was strong and more durable than a regular iron blade, the title granted him something far more useful: a 10% boost to critical attacks. This wasn't a small reward. It hinted that his instincts and awareness were sharper than anyone expected. Others around him were stunned. He hadn't hesitated, hadn't guessed, he had simply walked up and grabbed the right sword as if it were obvious. Even the instructor, who had believed him to be completely average, was surprised. He couldn't deny that finding the right sword so easily required a special kind of insight, though he still doubted the protagonist's physical strength or swordsmanship. Grudger figured it would take him at least 10 hits to cut down the scarecrow, a task a true genius could handle in one. The protagonist, aware of his own limits, agreed. Despite gaining a better weapon, he knew the real challenge lay ahead. That's when a ghostly instructor appeared again, correcting his grip and posture. But learning to fight wasn't about copying movements. True talent was something deeper. Yet just as he was about to ignore the ghost's advice, something unexpected happened. Inside the control center of the Eternal World, a specialized team quietly monitored user data, not to control or punish, but to ensure the game ran smoothly. Their eyes were always on players who achieved unusual feats, like getting rare items early or overpowering enemies that should be unbeatable. That's exactly why the protagonist came under their radar. A sharp increase in his stats right from the tutorial phase triggered red flags. Veteran analyst Lee grew increasingly puzzled. Even with all his years of experience, he had never seen anything like this. A strange label appeared in the data: unknown power. Curious and frustrated, he turned to the system's AI for answers. But even the AI couldn't define it, stating it was neither a glitch nor a known feature, just something that came from the user's own ability. Though annoyed, Lee knew he couldn't classify it as a problem. But things only got stranger. The stats continued to rise suddenly, and even the sync rate, how naturally a player blended into the game, was all over the place. As Lee struggled to make sense of it, his teammate shouted out another stat spike. This mysterious player was changing everything. Meanwhile, outside the system, the protagonist calmly walked away after bidding farewell to the warrior and the ghost, who now treated him like a worthy disciple. What had happened inside that training space was far more extraordinary than anyone watching could ever imagine. The hunting grounds near the starter village were filled with players chasing small, fast-moving rabbits. These beast-type monsters weren't just quick, they were tricky, changing direction in an instant. Many new players struggled, swinging wildly and missing their targets, often damaging their weapons in the process. Though some thought switching to a magic-based class would help, they soon realized that even magic users needed to learn butchering to get items from monsters unless they had enough money to skip it. In the middle of all this chaos, the protagonist arrived. He was surprised to see so many players failing at such a basic task. If this had been before, maybe he would have felt the same confusion. But now, with the memories of a skilled trainer guiding him, everything felt different. He felt ready. He pulled out a steel sword from his inventory. It didn't glow anymore, but it felt perfect in his hands. Confident and calm, he tested a few swings, catching the attention of nearby players. They laughed at him, thinking he was just another overconfident beginner. But while they mocked, the protagonist silently prepared, focused, and unbothered, showing signs that he was far more capable than they assumed. The butcher's shop was filled with frustrated voices and disappointment as players lined up with hopes of approval only to be scolded and sent away. The woman in charge didn't hold back. She snapped at everyone, criticizing their careless handling of meat. Despite having learned the proper skills, most of them showed no effort or care, ruining the quality of what they brought in. Some even made the mistake of using blunt weapons to hunt, damaging the meat so badly that it became worthless. The shop owner's frustration grew as one poor attempt after another piled up. Then the protagonist walked in, calmly placing his work on the table without a word. 20 neatly prepared rabbit carcasses rested before her. Expecting yet another failure, she began to complain, but stopped mid-sentence. Her expression changed. Eyes wide, she inspected the cuts in silence, then finally shouted in shock. For the first time, she was speechless, in awe of the perfect butchering. The clean cuts, minimal harm, and flawless technique left her emotional. She proudly showed the meat to everyone, calling it the ideal example of real skill. The crowd stared, stunned and curious. Whispers rose. Who is this guy? The user management team that monitored all players in the game had seen many surprising players over the past year, but none of them had caused as much confusion as the quiet user still in the starting village. The team leader couldn't understand how this beginner was breaking limits that normally took other players countless hours to reach. This strange user had gained a new stat, dexterity, and his agility increased by 3 points. It made no sense. There was no known method in the game that allowed such fast growth. Even the top AI, which checked for bugs or cheating, found nothing wrong. The system ruled the growth was legitimate. Still, the team leader could only watch as this player kept getting stronger. It wasn't just stats. The player had recently swept rewards from the butcher shop and now seemed to be heading towards something even rarer, a hidden dungeon in the starting village. His junior staff member pointed out the records showing that this dungeon, Hunter's Forest, required very specific conditions to enter, a steel sword and the expert butcher title. The user had them both. No one else had discovered it because players who met the conditions usually left the village early in the game. But this one had stayed behind. As the user followed the path guided by an old ghost, he entered the thick fog of the forest. This place was a maze, confusing players who stumbled into it without knowing the way. But thanks to the ghost's guidance, the user had made it through. A message popped up confirming that he was entering a hidden dungeon for the first time. The game showered him with rewards, bonuses to butchering, a new title called Explorer, and increased item drop rates in hidden dungeons. Even though the title seemed limited in use, it was still rare. Curious and a bit excited, he stepped into the dungeon. The fog lifted, revealing a beautiful forest glowing with golden sunlight and sparkling moss. It was so magical that even he let out a soft, surprised breath. Then he spotted a green-furred deer in the distance. It looked strong and ready to charge. As the creature rushed forward, he calmly waited and dodged at the last second. His movements were sharp, guided by the memories of a skilled hunter. With one clean strike, he took the creature down instantly. The system notified him of a critical hit and the activation of his one-strike skill. His agility and dexterity worked together perfectly. One made him faster, the other made his sword more precise. He felt stronger, better, more alive in the game than ever before. Instead of butchering the body right away, he stored it for later. As long as he avoided killing the boss, he could keep using the bonus rewards from the dungeon's first discovery. He pushed deeper into the forest, taking down more green stags with increasing ease. Even when 3 attacked him at once, he handled them with smooth footwork and quick strikes. Every fight made him better. Each kill was faster, cleaner. This wasn't just a game anymore. It was turning into a journey of real growth for both the player and the person behind the screen. The protagonist couldn't believe he had just taken down 3 stags in one strike. This incredible feat unlocked a rare title called Hunter, which granted a boost in movement speed while tracking beast-like creatures. It wasn't just useful for hunting, it had great value in combat, especially when chasing down targets. After reviewing the benefits, he turned his attention to 2 towering trees ahead. Behind them, hidden in shadows, was the figure of a much larger threat, the dungeon's boss. But instead of rushing in, he chose to handle something important first. He needed to make use of the stags he had hunted. Thanks to his title as a skilled butcher and his upgraded tools, he quickly processed all the stag corpses with ease. Counting the total, he realized he had brought down 10 green stags. Combined with the earlier rabbits, it made sense why he earned such a rare title. Then his gaze locked on the towering figure in the distance, a massive tiger covered in golden and black fur, radiating strength. It was no ordinary beast. Its enormous size made it the perfect guardian of this dungeon. Defeating it in a single blow seemed impossible, but the protagonist knew he had to try. With determination, he charged forward. As he entered the boss area, a message appeared: the boss had awakened. The tiger rose and let out a powerful roar that shook the air. At once, the protagonist felt his legs weaken. A chilling pressure took hold of his body, reducing his speed. This effect reminded him of how real tigers use low-frequency growls to paralyze prey. Though slowed, he quickly recovered, just in time to dodge the tiger's heavy attack that slammed into the ground. On the outside, the protagonist looked calm, but inside, he was thrilled with his new rewards. The old ghost, cheerful and kind like a grandfather, laughed warmly and vanished after sharing a few final words. With him gone, the protagonist quickly checked what he had gained: lightweight gloves made from green stag hide and a full forest hunter set. These items boosted his speed, attack, defense, and precision significantly. Even the title of Explorer added a small bonus, making him more likely to find extra rewards in the future. The boosts were impressive: faster movement, quicker strikes, better defense, and sharper attacks. All of it added up to a serious advantage. He silently thanked the spirits who had helped him. Without their guidance, none of this would have been possible. Eager to test his new strength, he returned to the rabbit hunting grounds. Other players noticed him right away, whispering about how he had uncovered hidden rewards before. They were shocked by how fast and strong he had become. But he didn't let the attention distract him. Focusing completely, he charged forward. Dirt flew as he moved, his speed now far beyond what others expected from a beginner. The protagonist revealed an unusual ability to absorb the memories and experiences of ghosts. At first, his sister grew worried, thinking this might harm his mind. But he calmly reassured her that these memories remained separate from his own and only appeared when he chose to use them. To him, it felt more like learning new skills, not something dangerous. His sister explained that such experiences might actually raise his synchronization rate. The deeper the connection with the virtual world, the more natural the movements and reactions became. Then came the real surprise. He asked what would happen if he absorbed the memories of the hero. Her reaction was immediate and intense. If that were possible, he might be able to change his class to hero. That class was more than rare. It was rumored to be legendary, possibly even higher. No one had ever unlocked it before, making this chance incredibly special. The weight of that possibility hit him hard. He could feel the excitement build up inside. With this goal in mind, he ate quickly, determined to move forward without wasting a second. His sister could only laugh as she watched his growing ambition come to light. The protagonist stood frozen, staring at the woman called Helena, shocked by the title she was given, the Demon King. At first, the label and the fearful respect from the surrounding ghosts made her seem terrifying. But he quickly sensed something different. Just like the others he had met, Helena showed deep kindness toward him. What confused him more was seeing her in front of the memorial built for the hero Hindle. She gently explained that this was the very place where she had lost her life. What puzzled him even more was Helena's appearance. She looked completely human. There was no trace of anything monstrous or dark about her. Noticing his confusion, Helena explained with a soft laugh that she was indeed human. The title she carried came from her powerful skill in dark magic, which had caused people to fear her during her lifetime. Even though she had never harmed anyone, her unmatched talent alone made others treat her as a threat, leading to her conflict with the hero. She shared how she once wished to pass on her knowledge and strength but never could until now. Smiling brightly, she told the protagonist that he possessed a power even greater than hers. Inside the chamber of the Sovereign, the trial wasn't about strength or battle, but deep knowledge. The protagonist had to answer 444 complex questions based on old village records, an exhausting task meant to test patience and emotional understanding. It was clear the test was made to ensure only someone who truly grasped Helena's pain and story could carry her legacy. For him, it wasn't difficult, just time-consuming. When he answered the final question correctly, a bright turquoise light lit up the chamber. That light formed into Helena's image, who embraced him and then vanished into his being. Suddenly, the entire chamber was filled with a powerful glow and spirits rose all around him, bowing in silence. The moment felt grand, almost like a coronation. His strength increased rapidly and the spirits moved under his command as if they were part of him. The world was lit in turquoise as spirits shouted praises, calling him their ruler. Messages appeared confirming his rise to a top-level role with powerful titles and new skills. Yet, as quickly as the power surged, it disappeared. The spirits faded, leaving behind only silence and a lingering sense of change. The protagonist stood in silence, thinking about what skill to use first. Although the power to summon the fallen sounded tempting, it didn't feel right to waste such a skill on just one rabbit. More importantly, he didn't want to burn through all his energy too quickly. He had better options to explore. He decided to begin with something less draining but still powerful, the Aura of Death. This ability covered a wide area, spreading like a cold, strange mist from his body. As it expanded, everything around reacted instantly. The rabbits nearby froze, sensing danger too late. One by one, they collapsed without a single wound on their bodies. It wasn't just deadly, it was efficient. And while it consumed energy, it also healed him little by little, balancing power with endurance. He stopped the skill after a short while, discovering that cutting it off early even reduced the waiting time before he could use it again. Then, with 20 lifeless rabbits before him, something new unlocked. The system asked if he wanted to summon them back. Now it felt worth testing. With steady hands and curiosity in his eyes, he activated the power, ready to witness what true strength looked like. The protagonist had just returned with a massive load of hunted goods, including rabbit meat, green stag hides, and even a tiger, an unbelievable feat for anyone, especially an outsider. When the villagers saw the pile, they couldn't believe their eyes. One of the locals, a sharp woman who handled trades, fainted from the shock, but thanks to the help of nearby players and the protagonist's calm reaction, she regained herself. She was visibly shaken, not just from surprise, but from something deeper that only the protagonist noticed. Her spirit had almost slipped from her body, something no one else could sense. As things calmed down, she stared again at the mountain of meat and hides. Outsiders had traded with them before, but this amount was unheard of. On top of that, he'd also brought back creatures that even seasoned hunters avoided. She immediately decided that the village chief needed to know about this rare and skilled outsider. What puzzled her most, though, was how he managed to enter a hidden area in the forest, normally only accessible after earning trust from the village mage. But somehow he'd found his way, skipping steps others had to follow.